and the teachers. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Army says multiple arrests made during a month-long intelligence-led operation forced the kidnappers of 44 pupils and teachers in Orire local government area of Oyo State to release their captives unconditionally. The operation, led by the General Officer Commanding 2 Division, Major General C.R. Inebife, involved security agencies, intelligence services, and local security outfits that dismantled the kidnappers' network and logistics base across Oyo and neighboring states. The Army says sustained pressure from the coordinated operation disrupted the activities of the criminal gang and ultimately secured the safe release of the victims. The Broadcasting Organizations of Nigeria, BON, has hailed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Nigeria security agencies for their successful rescue of the abducted pupils and their teachers in Orire local government area of Oyo State, describing the operation as a major breakthrough in the fight against kidnapping. In a statement signed by the Executive Secretary, Dr. Yemisi Bamise, BON praised the Nigerian military, the police, the Department of State Services, and other security agencies for their professionalism, courage, and effective interagency coordination that secured the victims' safe return. Now, the organization also commended Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde and residents for their cooperation with security agencies, urging the security forces to sustain intelligence-driven operations against criminal elements nationwide. BON expressed optimism that with continued political support and stronger collaboration among security agencies, kidnapping and banditry would be significantly curtailed, while calling for the speedy rescue of other victims still held captive across the country. Over now to the African Democratic Congress has urged the federal government to extend the same level of urgency that secured the release of abducted pupils and teachers in Oyo states to victims still in captivity in Borno and Kwara State. The opposition party commended the successful rescue operation but warned against selective security responses, insisting every Nigerian deserves equal protection regardless of location. The ADC also called for stronger measures to tackle insecurity, saying lasting success should guarantee safe schools, secure highways, and freedom from the threat of kidnapping. The All Progressive Congress, APC, has officially endorsed Vice President Kashim Shettima as running mate to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the 2027 presidential election. APC National Chairman Professor Natawe Yelwada says the party is rewarding loyalty, commitment, and service with the decision. Ubong Osoro tells us more.
At the official unveiling of its presidential running mate and submission of the nomination form in Abuja, the leadership of the All Progressive Congress, APC, formally endorsed Vice President Kashim Shettima as the party's vice presidential candidate for the 2027 presidential election. Speaking at the event, the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Professor Natawe Yelwada, said Vice President Kashim Shettima has remained a loyal and committed member of the party.
It's a reflection of the wishes of over 12 million of our members of APC, who overwhelmingly voted Mr. President as their candidate to flag off the party candidature in the 2027 presidential election.
Suleiman Mohammed, the APC National Organizing Secretary, charged Shettima to remain steadfast in supporting the policy and programs of the party and the administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
We want everybody to follow me, continue to support the party, support the leadership of the party, always, and continue to pray to our leaders, to our party, and to our dear government. And we also use this opportunity to thank all our governors, all the wonderful things they are doing in their respective states, providing dividends of democracy.
Felix Morka, the National Publicity Secretary of APC, added that the party's decision reflect its tradition of rewarding loyalty and dedication.
Candidate of our party is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Hope Uzodinma, Imo State's governor, said APC governors unanimously support the Tinubu-Shettima ticket and pledged to work for the re-election of President Tinubu in the 2027 presidential election.
In our manners, to support the political advisor to Mr. President to submit to the INEC nomination form for our presidential candidate and his running mate for the January presidential election 2027.
The endorsement of Kashim Shettima as President Tinubu's running mate is expected to strengthen the APC's preparations for the 2027 presidential elections. Ubong Usoro, Global TV News.
Vice President Kashim Shettima says ongoing reforms in Nigeria's public procurement system have saved the federal government more than 1.1 trillion naira in 2025, while improving transparency, accountability, and fiscal discipline. And the Vice President said the Bureau of Public Procurement has introduced 23 strategic initiatives aimed at strengthening governance and improving budget implementation. He reaffirmed the Tinubu administration's commitment to institutional reforms that enhance public service delivery and ensure prudent management of public resources. Over now to the Nigerian Air Force says precision airstrikes carried out by the Air Component Operation Hadin-Kai has destroyed a terrorist enclave and logistics base at Yanganari in Guzawa area of Borno State. The operation followed intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance missions that confirmed renewed terrorist activity and the concentration of fighters in the area before the strikes were executed. Chief of Air Staff Air Marshal Sunday Aneke commended the professional involved and reaffirmed the Air Force commitment to sustained offensive operations against terrorist groups across the country. Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development Festus Keyamo has directed the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria to impose a 25,000 naira fine on former Anambra State Governor Peter Obi for wrongful parking at the Abuja airport and demanded public apology over claims that airport officials unfairly targeted him. Now, Keyamo said Obi's vehicle remained in a prohibited drop-off zone for about 30 minutes after all occupants had left the car, creating a security risk contrary to global aviation standards. The minister warned that if Obi fails to apologize within 1 week, FAN will be instructed to take further action in line with airport regulations. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention says the country recorded 66 confirmed Lassa fever cases and several deaths within 3 weeks as the disease continued to spread across 23 states and 111 local government areas. The agency says Ondo, Bauchi, Taraba, Edo, and Benue account for about 85% of confirmed infections recorded so far this year, with more than 5,000 suspected cases reported nationwide. Health authorities are urging Nigerians to remain vigilant and adopt preventive measures as efforts continue to contain the outbreak. The Kaduna State Ministry of Health has issued an urgent public health advisory following a rise in diarrhea cases, with children accounting for the majority of infections reported across affected communities. The ministry urged parents and caregivers to ensure children receive routine vaccinations, seek immediate medical attention for anyone showing symptoms, and avoid self-medication as health authorities intensify surveillance and response effort. It also called on residents to maintain proper hygiene and cooperate with ongoing interventions being carried out alongside the Federal Ministry of Health, Nigerian Center for Disease Control and Prevention, and development partners. Akwa Ibom State Governor Umo Eno has sympathized with victims of the recent flash floods while urging residents to complement government efforts by keeping drainage channels free from refuse. The governor said although government will continue to deslit major drainages and respond to emergencies, communities must take responsibility for maintaining their immediate environment to reduce the impact of flooding. He also noted that early warnings had been issued before the heavy rainfall, stressing that preventing future flooding requires collective action between government and the public. One construction worker has died, while 7 others sustained injuries following the collapse of a countered entrance canopy at the site of the new Gamba State House of Assembly complex. Governor Muhammadu Inuwa Yahaya has ordered the government to cover the medical expenses of the injured victims and directed an immediate investigation into the incident to determine the cause of the structural failure. Authorities have suspended construction in the affected area pending the outcome of technical assessments, warning that anyone found negligent will face appropriate sanctions. Now, for many Nigerians, laughter is more than a reaction to jokes. It has become a way of coping with stress, uncertainty, and the pressures of everyday life. In this special report, Global Television's Priscilla Obasi examines why people laugh and what laughter reveals about the human spirit. The report.
Laughter is one of the most universal forms of human expression. It can be heard in homes, workplaces, markets, and social gatherings, bringing moments of relief even in difficult times. Experts say people laugh for different reasons. It may be a response to humor, a way of connecting with others, a release from tension, or even a natural reaction to stressful situations. For many Nigerians facing economic challenges, busy work schedules, and the demand of daily life, laughter has become a healthy way to manage emotional pressure and maintain hope. The country's thriving comedy industry reflects this reality. Through comedy skits, stand-up performances, and humorous social media contents, entertainers provide millions with moments of escape from everyday worries.
Laughter is that thing that makes sense to us at this point because basically everything is a joke in this country. So we laugh. It's an easy solution. It's like a momentarily thing. You just chuckle about it and you deal with the grief later.
For others, laughter is not about pretending problems do not exist. Rather, it is a conscious decision to find joy despite life's challenges and to keep moving forward with optimism.
Why do I laugh? To ease my tension. Actually, I laugh. That's one. Then 2, when I feel excited about what you say, I can laugh.
Psychologists explain that laughter offers several health benefits. It helps reduce stress, relax the body, strengthen social relationships, and improve emotional well-being.
Laughter is actually a style, a coping style when it comes to stress relief. When you laugh, it relaxes you because really and truly, when you worry and you don't have a solution, what will happen? You just end up getting sad, end up getting depressed, end up getting angry, and there's still no solution.
Beyond its health benefits, laughter also creates bonds between people. It breaks barriers, eases tension, and reminds people that they share common experiences regardless of their background. While laughter may not eliminate life's challenges, it remains one of humanity's simplest and most powerful ways of finding comfort, building resilience, and staying emotionally healthy. Priscilla Obasi, Global Television News.
Thank you, Priscilla, for that report. You are watching the live broadcast of News Cycle. News Cycle continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Weather conditions are shaping up for an active day across much of the country as early morning thunderstorms are expected to develop across the northern region, affecting parts of Adamawa, Taraba, Gombe, Bauchi, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Zamfara, Kebbi, and Sokoto State. And across the central region, we also expect light rainfall, while parts of the coastal areas, including parts of Ogun, Abia, Ondo, and Lagos State, are expected to experience scattered showers and thunderstorms. And as the day unfolds, thunderstorm activity is expected to intensify and extend across many parts of the country, bringing periods of rains that are expected to persist through the afternoon and into the evening hours. And with the widespread cloud cover and rainfall, daytime temperatures across the southern cities will remain in their upper 20s. And we expect a continuous drop in both day and nighttime temperatures throughout the weekend. And that's your weather update for Saturday. I am Akemi Samarda.
You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is News Cycle on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, the federal government has reviewed Nigeria's digital postcode project and began integrating it with the national identification number to strengthen digital identity and improve address verification nationwide. The initiative follows a partnership between the National Identity Management Commission and the Nigerian Postal Service, with both agencies already linking postcode retrieval to the NIN platform. The government says the integration will improve access to public services, while post offices will now serve as national identification number enrollment centers. Nigeria's stock market has emerged as the world's best performing equity market in dollar terms this year, overtaking South Korea following sweeping economic reforms, improved foreign exchange liquidity, and a stronger naira. According to a report, Nigeria's benchmark index has returned 67% in dollar terms, placing it ahead of 91 other stock markets tracked globally. Analysts say improving macroeconomic conditions and renewed investor confidence continue to drive strong performances in the Nigerian equity market. The Federal High Court in Abuja has upheld the power of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission to investigate consumer complaint relating to airline ticket pricing, ruling that the agency's investigative powers are separate from its authority to regulate prices. The judgment dismissed Airpeace's challenge to the Commission's investigation into complaint over increased domestic airfares during the 2024 festive season. And the ruling straightens the Commission's authority to investigate alleged exploitative pricing practices and protect consumer rights. On the foreign scene now, Barbados Prime Minister Mayor Motley has rejected calls for former British colonists to repay British for its historical investment, describing the suggestion as absurd and offensive. Motley insisted that Britain should acknowledge the legacy of slavery and colonialism as Caribbean leaders continue to demand reparations, debt relief, and formal apology for historic injustices. Her remarks came during the closing session of the Caribbean Community Summit in St. Lucia amid renewed regional calls for reparative justice. Iran's supreme leader has vowed revenge for the killing of his father and predecessor in United States-Israeli strikes, escalating tensions despite ongoing diplomatic effort to preserve a fragile ceasefire. The threat came hours after United States President Donald Trump warned that any attempt to assassinate him would trigger overwhelming military retaliation against Iran, as both sides continue exchanging strong rhetoric. Meanwhile, mediators led by Qatar are pushing to revive negotiations with Iran, insisting it has honored his commitments under the existing ceasefire arrangement. In sports news now, Super Falcons head coach Justine Madagu has named a 25-player squad for the 2026 Women's World Cup of Nations, retaining captain Rashidat Ajibade, goalkeeper Chiamaka Inadozie, and forward Asisat Oshola. For Nigeria's title defense, the defending champions will compete in Group C against Egypt, Zambia, and Malawi as they pursue a record-extending 11th continental title in Morocco. One of the biggest surprises in the squad is the omission of defender Ashley Plumter, who played a key role in Nigeria's triumph at the last edition of the tournament. England will face Norway while Lionel Messi, Argentina, take on Switzerland as the FIFA World Cup quarterfinals continue. England will be aiming to keep their title hopes alive against determined Norwegian side, while Argentina seek another step towards defending their crown. The winners of both matches will secure places at the semi-finals. Still on sports, the German Football Federation says it has reached an understanding with Jürgen Klopp over his appointment as Germany's next head coach. The federation says talks will continue after securing approval from Klopp's current employers, the Red Bull Group, before a deal is finalized. Klopp is expected to replace Julian Ingelami following Germany's early exit from the FIFA World Cup. And that's it on News Cycle. Here's a quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, Star Times channel 276, and Free TV. Now kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Good evening.